Hello everyone, welcome to today's advanced level kvCORE agent training. My name is Lauren and I'm one of the success coaches here at Inside Real Estate. I will be taking you through today's training. Today we're going to build upon and connect the dots, as it were, from the foundation that was laid earlier in the beginner and intermediate level trainings, as well as interconnect any outside trainings that you have already done yourself with our articles and videos. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can just jump right into it. So everyone should be seeing my test agent dashboard right now. I'll give it a second to load. Perfect. Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to point out is up here on the top right-hand corner. This drop-down contains your subdomain and the link to your website. So if you are not satisfied with the way the subdomain is set up, there is an option to change it. We can change whatever comes before this little dot here. If it's set up with your first name, last name, and you want it to be just your first name or first name, last initial, or first initial, last name, or anything like that, you're able to contact our support team. Remember, you're able to chat with us down here on the bottom right, or send an email to kvCORE@insiderealestate.com, and they will be able to assist you with that process. We may have to get admin approval for you, so just keep that in mind. The second option is to change the subdomain to using a personal domain. So let's say that I am a realtor and I have a domain name, sunnysandiego.com. I can actually use that personal domain with kvCORE, and there's two ways to do that. I can either contact support, again, chat or email, and ask them to begin the process to completely replace the subdomain. So instead of ever having to deal with or look at or think about my subdomain that was auto-generated, I can just simply replace it with sunnysandiego.com. There is a $10 a month maintenance fee that you would be responsible for, paid directly to Inside Real Estate. Our support team would get you in contact with our billing team, and they will start the IDX approval process with our IDX admin. Because the URL or the domain name will be primarily used instead of the subdomain that is auto-generated for you, we do need MLS approval to feature the IDX data on that site. If you don't wish to go through that process, there's a simpler way that is free. You could go to the domain provider that you purchased the personal domain from and simply place a 301 redirect on it, which means that if I go to sunnysandiego.com, in the address bar, it would redirect and change to my subdomain right here, and I would still land on my kvCORE website. So there's two different options. If you have any other questions or follow-up items, definitely chat with our support team. They will be available to assist you or answer any questions. The second thing that I wanted to show you on this page, remember this is your dashboard, your home page, where you'll see all of your activity summaries and calls to do, or calls to make and tasks to do. There's also this calendar tab here, which will sync your Google Calendar or Outlook calendar if you have a Gmail or Outlook email address associated with your kvCORE account. So we're able to pull in your emails in your inbox and also sync your Google Calendar. This is great because it, again, pulls everything into one place for you to work out of. You're easily able to see what you have to do outside of kvCORE while you're still in the account. So it just meshes your business even further with using kvCORE. And then also, if you haven't quite figured this out yet, this little icon of 3 horizontal lines actually collapses the icons to your left, or it can expand it to the actual tabs in this column. So if you already know what icons belong to which section, you can collapse it and make your screen even bigger to see more information easily. And lastly, before we continue, I just want to also remind you to make sure your profile is set up correctly and completely. Some of the information does show on your agent website, and you will want to make sure that it is all correct. Let's just come in here and take a peek. Okay, moving onwards to our Smart CRM. Not going to spend a whole lot of time in the Smart CRM. Today we have spent a lot of time in it in other trainings, but I did want to point out just a few features in here. So first of all is this filter button over here. So if you are looking for specific criteria that leads are searching, you can come down here to property interest and plug in the criteria to see who's looking in what location, for what price range, etc., and mark it out or send them a quick message that's specific to that. You're able to filter for status, which remember, this is the only way to see your archive status leads. Or if you're looking to send a specific listing or marketing materials or just check in with certain leads, you can come into here and see what lender they're assigned to, what lead type they are. If you're using ratings or hashtags or sources, you can filter by that as well. You can see who's unsubscribed, has an email, or has a phone number. And also their hot behaviors. Remember that our behavioral automation works off of very specific criteria or activity that they do. You can come in here and filter for ones that have search alerts, ones that have responded to you through a certain channel, saved a property, asked a question, requested a showing, things like that. So you can quickly filter to hot behaviors and mark it out and focus your time on those leads. Now, if you're coming in here and you are noticing that you're filtering for the same criteria multiple times, you can come down here and click Save Filter so you can access it later in the future. Up here at the top, you can actually select that filter and it will automatically do the rest for you. So you'll notice that active lead instantly was logged, and I think also lead details, a buyer type was selected, and I believe has a phone number. Yes. So these three criteria were all automatically plugged in there, and I was able to find this lead that matched all of that criteria. Remember that when you do apply a filter, this button will turn from gray to green, and you will have to click this Clear Filters button or link if you want to see your regular list of views. So just keep that in mind. Don't leave your kvCORE account or navigate away and then come back and say, oh my goodness, all my leads have gone. You will have to clear this filter manually. Same thing when you search in this box. If you're doing a search for a specific lead and all of these leads come up, it is going to just narrow your focus and your view in your lead in your Smart CRM to just the matching leads. So again, if you navigate away or leave your account and come back in, this is sticky. It will stay until you actually clear it or click this X button. So again, if you do have a search in here or a filter and you navigate away and come back, don't think all of your leads have disappeared. It's simply that there is a filtered view or a specific view enabled. You'll notice that when I clicked that, there's this red trash can icon. So you are able to delete a saved filter if you need to. Perhaps criteria was set up incorrectly or you no longer need to look for those types of leads. You can do so. Hopping real quick into a lead record, you will see this Files tab up here. And this Files tab hooks up directly to Google Drive. So it's a lot easier if you already have a Gmail or G Suite email address hooked up to kvCORE. If not, this will pop open the nearest Google Drive account associated with whatever Gmail you're logged into at the time in the browser. So remember that if you don't have a Gmail account synced up to kvCORE and you upload a file here, it's going to be added to whatever Google Drive is associated to whatever Gmail account you are currently logged into. So take note or log out and log into one you specifically want to save the files to. It's a quick way to save mortgage applications, other files that you or your lender might need to have on hand, any forms they need to fill out, things like that, agreements. You are also able, I think I mentioned this before, to customize or delete any notes or future touch points from the campaign that are coming up. So if you make a note and realize you need to go back in and add or remove something, you are able to click the pencil icon and change it. Not seeing any questions about this section, so I'm going to mosey on down to the Listings tab. And again, this is a list of the properties that are available to be pulled via an IDX feed from your MLS. You are able to also filter this section as well. So if you're looking for a specific type of property, you can enter in the criteria here and quickly limit your view to the matching ones. Or you are able to toggle on just your listings in the back end. So instead of going to your website to see the list of properties that we're pulling, you can just view them in your back end as well. Or toggle on to see only your agency listings. Agency listings are your listings associated with the office you're assigned to. So in the office's profile, there is a field for broker MLS ID, which the admin for the office or the account owner, someone with level permissions, needs to have entered. And then any properties associated with that broker MLS ID will be pulled onto the office site, as well as filtered down in here so that you can filter for them. Remember, just like with your agent MLS ID in your profile, if it's not filled out, then nothing will pull if you toggle this on, which is what mine will do. Or I guess we put some test ones in here. If the MLS ID is filled out, it will pull in properties. Just like with filters in the Smart CRM, you do need to manually clear them and clear any searches if you stay on the same page. If you navigate away and come back to the listing section, these searches and the filters are not sticky, so they will auto clear. So as long as you stay on the same page, the filter and the search that you have performed will stay there. If you go into Smart CRM or Lead Engine or wherever else and then come back, it will have cleared to the default view, which is this. Remember too that there is this manual option for you to enter one-off listings or sold listings, so keep note of that and definitely utilize it if you need to feature non-IDX feed listings. Just remember that if you are not the listing agent, you will probably want to get permission to view them, especially if they're not marked in the MLS to be viewed online or pulled through the IDX feed. But you do have that option. If we pop into Marketing Autopilot, I want to point out the kvCORE mobile dialer. Now this is actually a kvCORE mobile app. It is not just a dialer. It does give you access to your Smart CRM, your leads, their profiles, their notes, calls and tasks to do, things like that. But the main function, the main feature is a dialer. So if you have a list of hashtags, a list of contacts and a hashtag you need to call, then you will be able to do so. If you want to call a lead and you're on the road and don't have access to the desktop version of your kvCORE account, you can pop into the app and call them and the system will record it. You also have the option to text the lead from here, as well as a couple of other different options. But texting is special because when you text them, you have the option to text from your smart number or your cell phone number. So if you want to keep everything in sync with one number or the other, you can definitely do so. It just all depends. Remember, if you do call or text and it doesn't use a smart number, we will be unable to record any further communication besides that initial outgoing text or call. So just keep that in mind. But this is a great app for you to utilize, especially on the go. And we are currently expanding it even more, so there will be enhanced features as time goes on. So I definitely suggest downloading it. We have Android and Apple. And remember to always keep on a lookout for any system or software update that comes out as well. If we go on down to Lead Engine, I want to point out that we do have a CMA builder, and we have this Millions Mapped app, which is another way that clients can search for homes. We also have this open house app. So if you come into here, it's going to give you an overview of the app just like the last one did. And this is great to use for open houses. Those are now leads. They're most likely looking because they're ready to buy or will shortly be. And this app is going to help you start that initial communication and relationship with them. So while you're meeting with them in person, they can sign up. It's an actual app. It's not its own page. It's not within your kvCORE account or online somewhere else. It's an app you have to download. When you log into it, you can set it up for a specific listing or list of properties to associate those leads with. So someone visits your open house for one property on the street and they enter in their information, name, email, phone number. They check whether or not they're already working with a realtor. It asks them a few other questions such as how did you hear about this open house? And then when they enter their information, it will automatically apply a hashtag of that listing's MLS ID. So you know exactly what property they came to visit. And it's also going to automatically sync to your smart CRM. So anytime someone enters any information into this app, it will auto sync with the kvCORE app next to it, or the dashboard. If you don't have the app downloaded, it doesn't matter. It also works offline. So if you are in a rural area or for whatever reason you might have ran out of data for that month, you're able to use this app offline, and then when you get back to the office or get back home, wherever you access the internet from and you're back online, you can manually sync it with your smart CRM. So it works off and online, and it's great at gathering information for you. Definitely recommend to use that if you are an open house guru. Speaking of getting leads into your smart CRM, we have this lead Dropbox tile. So when you go into your Dropbox, you won't have this office box. I'm an office level admin, so I see that. But you will have this one agent box with your information. You have this forwarding email address. So if you have outside sources that don't have a direct API integration with kvCORE, for instance, Hotpads, Realtor.com, Homes.com, things like that, you can actually set up either in your profile in the platform or in your actual email inbox a forward to this email address. So what you need to do is set up either in the platform or in your email an auto forward for the new lead notifications you receive from that system to auto forward to this email address. What that's going to do is send the email over to kvCORE. The system is going to scrape all of the relevant information from that new lead email and plug it all in as a new contact in your smart CRM. So it's going to do all that heavy weight for you. You don't have to go in and manually add it one by one. You can just have it do automatically. Same principle applies with the Zapier key. If we don't have a direct integration with the outside source, but they have a Zap app or a Zapier connection, you can actually hook kvCORE up through Zapier, and we'll do the same thing. You'll use this key to connect kvCORE and the outside source, and Zapier acts as a bridge, so the information for a new lead will come over to kvCORE, and the system will automatically add it as a new contact for you. With Zillow, we do have a direct integration, so all you have to do to hook us up to your Zillow account is go into your account in Zillow and choose Connect to My CRM, I believe the tab is called, and then under Partners, you're actually going to choose Conversion. We haven't renamed it to kvCORE just yet, so you'll have to use Conversion, hook up the key, and it just brings in all of your new leads from Zillow. It's great. This box down here contains a different email address that you can use, and this is for a very specific circumstance. So let's say that for whatever reason, you have to email a contact not through the email address that is connected to kvCORE. So I have this Gmail account up here. I also have like 3 others. If I was emailing a contact out of one of my other Gmail accounts or one of my Yahoos, I can actually come down here and BCC this email address, and it will pull in that communication to the lead's record. So I can see it in the timeline and won't lose anything that I'm talking to them about or telling them. You would have to do it each time you send them something outside of that email account that's hooked up to kvCORE. We won't automatically be able to grab or scrape that email thread because it's not synced to kvCORE, but this is a great way if you are accidentally in the wrong account or you just simply don't have access to the other one at that time. It's a great way to get that communication in. Remember, you want to log everything in your kvCORE account so the system works with you and not against you. You don't want the system making calls don't want the system making a list of calls for you to make when you've already contacted those leads somehow. So remember to track everything in there. But this is how you would sync up all of your outside lead sources to make sure everything is flowing into kvCORE. Speaking of getting everything into kvCORE, there is a great marketing tool underneath this call capture tile, and they're called text codes. So with your smart number, obviously, you know that it tracks the communications with calls or texts and can even control lead routing based on an unregistered or registered phone number calling it directly. You can actually set it up to help you with advertising. So let's say you have a flyer or a mailer or a sign writer, and you want to put your phone number on there, obviously. A very, very cool way to get in contact with your leads and make it even faster, because a lot of us admittedly are adverse to talking on the phone. It's just the way the world is going now. We would rather text, not call. Personally, I don't like talking over the phone. I feel it's very awkward because I can't see the other person on the end, and I am very I make intuition decisions based on the other person's like tone of voice and facial expressions, with their body movements, things like that. I can't do that while they're on the phone. So unless it's a family member or friend, I don't like talking on the phone. I would rather text until I get to know you. And going along that line, you can make text codes. So everyone does have a default, and you would want to come into your call capture tile to see what that is. If someone texts your first name or whatever your default is to your associated smart number, they will automatically get added as a phone lead into your smart CRM. They won't receive anything back necessarily unless you respond back to them via text yourself, but this is a quick way to get them into your system. So adding it to your Craigslist ads, sign writers, things like that. If, however, you do want the text code to do something more, if you have a sign writer, for example, for a specific listing, you can come in here to add new and enter in either a custom code, so some type of text. I would recommend to not use spaces, but you can. I would also recommend to not use case sensitive, but you can. It'll work either way. But you can enter in a line of text, or you can enter in an MLS ID. And then you can enter in a reply message. So if you put in the reply message, it will automatically send them that follow-up text if they put in this ID or this code. You can also enter in a link. Notice that this says or, so you can't have a message and a link. Either or for right now, but you would put in the link. So I want this listing, if they text my smart number with this ID, I want them to immediately receive a link to that property on my website. So a lot of agents I've actually been hearing are using this as a way to get people into their system because they're offering interior pictures. So if you know there are if you know there are a lot of nice quality photos for a particular listing, you are able to put in a little flyer or even on the sign writer, say, hey, would you like a peek inside? Because not all of us are available right away when someone goes to visit the house. So, hey, would you like a peek inside and more details about this property? Text this code to this number and you'll receive a link to pictures. It works wonders. If you're associated with more than one smart number, you would have to choose which one you wish to use and remember to tell them to send it to that smart number. But I'm only a part of one, So I would choose that one, I would click add, and it would actually show up here in my custom text codes list. One little caveat about this is that the text codes are held underneath the umbrella of the account. So if someone enters in the same text code or MLS ID as me, as I am, but they've done it first, then they technically are the owner of that. So if I use the same text code, they will receive my leads. So you will want to get a little creative. Instead of just using open house, or instead of just using an MLS ID number, you will want to get a little creative and change it up a bit. I would always recommend, if you are going to use a generic term like open house or just the MLS ID as the code, to test it first with a phone number that is not already in your smart CRM and see what happens. Because if your response doesn't go out and you receive a different one, then it means someone else already is the owner of that code and you will need to change it. But it's a great way for you to generate more leads without very much effort and without any really at all. And you're always able to come in here and edit what they're doing. So if you don't want to completely delete the text code, you just want to change what it does or what it says, you can come in here and edit it. Let's see. No questions about this so far, okay? I'm going to expand this real fast. This transactions tab, we're not going to go into it in too detail, but if you're using .loop or SkySlope, there is a way to hook up to that. .loop can be set up on an individual level. With SkySlope, you would need an admin for the SkySlope account to sync it at their admin level. So for example, if your company who has the kvCORE account uses SkySlope, you would need to go to the admin or the account owner for kvCORE and for SkySlope and have them connected at their highest level, so that then everyone will get synced up at their own individual level for SkySlope. If you just come in here and hook it up yourself, it might not work properly. But it will pull in all of the transactions, all of the loops that you have, and you'll be able to preview them here. You won't necessarily be able to add a loop or change the transactions that we're pulling in. We do have ideas to make this more robust, but for now it's only going to give you a preview and allow you to sync with a specific client. In Web and IDX, I know I've been in here a few times over the last 2 training sessions, but I did want to come in here one last time to show you 3 things. First is this widgets tab up here. Now, it is going to be blank because the widgets that we have available must be enabled at a higher level. So the company or office admin must go in and add them to their widget library, and then they will filter down to be available to individual agents. So if my office did actually, let me see, here we go. If my office admin did add property type and valuation, home worth, a financing widget, and an open house widget, when I come into mine, I will see these 4. So whatever the office admin has enabled on their end, you will see on yours. Obviously, there are a lot more, so you can just come in here. You will want to talk to your office admin or your company account admin if your widgets section is blank and you're curious to see what default widgets we have available to use. And then they can go ahead and enable any of them. But on your level, after, if they do enable them, you're able to add them to your website. You're actually able to edit the code of any of these too. So if you're a coder, if you're handy with HTML, or you know someone who is, they can actually come in here and change the look and feel of it. You're also able to remove it completely, but please note that deleting this widget will delete it from this entire section, and the office or account, the office or company admin would have to go in and remove it and then re-add it for everyone. So if you don't wish to add one, or if you've added one, and wish to remove it, then you can clear website content, and it will remove those two from your site. Once you've added these, you can pop over into your website and actually see what they look like. Now remember, I added and just removed them, so they won't be showing, but they are going to replace these default search boxes. So the widgets aren't going to be added below or above. They're actually going to replace these four. So make sure that you are okay with not having these additional search options here. And enable them in groupings of 2. So the boxes are a little, actually, they're like this. They are a little shorter and square. They are a little bit longer, taller. So they're about like this height right here. And they're in pairings of 2. So if you just had this, there'd be all this white space over here. So do enable them in groupings of 2 or even numbers, so all 4. Otherwise, there'll be blank white space. Let's see. We do have one question about widgets. Yes. Okay. So the question was, do I always have to go to my admin, or are you looking to build out agent-specific widget permissions? The answer to that is I actually don't know. So I know the last time I spoke with our products team, they said that for now they were keeping it at a company and office admin permissions level. We do have many requests for agents to access these widgets on their own, but when we initially created it, the idea was to have the admin permissions have more control over it. But more updates will be coming soon in the future, I would imagine. As of right now, no, you would have to still go talk to your admin, but it's possible we will release these to individual agent levels in the future. Perfect, thank you. Let me pop back over to Website Manager because I want to show you another way to edit this section in particular. Now, most of you already know that our websites aren't that customizable. There are some things you can do in website settings, which I'll touch on in a minute, but for the most part, it is what it is. However, if you go to Site Editor, which is this section right here in this template box, if you go to Site Editor, it's going to open up your website exact way you see it, but this section is now customizable. I can do whatever I want with it. I can go to the code view and look at all the HTML and change the look and feel. I can completely replace it with my own coding, my own widgets, my own pictures, text, etc. You would want to save anything that you've done, otherwise it will not automatically apply. And you do have a restore option. So if you come in here or you go to your website and you're like, oh, this is horribly done, or you just get bored of it, want to replace it, etc., you will see after you change it and save it a restore option. So you are able to wipe all of your customization and go back to what you originally had. You're not stuck with it, but you are able to actually change it if you wish. And real quick, we have this edit settings button. We also have this edit website settings link. This is going to take you both to the same place, to your settings section for your website, and you'll see it up here. You're able to do so many things on your website. Change the background picture, change what appears on the website, enter in any Google tracking, Facebook pixel tracking, any custom codes or conversion, things like that. Definitely put in your Facebook username if you have one, so we can enable that Facebook chat with me widget that links up to Facebook Messenger. So your visitors, when they click on it, will be logged into their Facebook Messenger and be able to chat with you directly live while they're on your website. It's great. You can change your website template. I would not recommend going back to Foundation. It's our legacy template, and it's not look modern. You're able to change with Hero specifically. So Foundation does not work with any of these below settings. Hero, however, you're able to change the colors. and enter in a background YouTube video like I did instead of a picture. You're able to set different colors for different things, change your circle or circular agent image with a square one. You can hide it completely. You're also able to change the listing carousels, and I accidentally exited out of my website, so I'll bring it back up. These listing carousels live right here. So our listings just listed and just reduced, and visitors are able to scroll through them. You actually now have control over them. This is something we recently updated. You're able to change what each one says, and you're able to completely turn it off if you wish. Just remember every time you edit anything in this section to click save, otherwise it will revert back to default. So you can control those carousels. You can link up to Google Analytics. You're able to change the type of listings that show on your website. So if you don't want to work with contingent, cooperative, land, commercial, you can remove those. This means that anyone on my website searching for land perhaps will not see any results. If you don't want to work with certain types of leads, looking for certain types of properties, it's the easiest way to do it. You can ignore coverage only and scrub areas, but these three are important down here at the very bottom. You're able to choose how the search results list of properties are sorted. So if you, right now I have it on reductions, so anytime someone does a search, they'll be taken to a list of results. And depending on what view you have it on, which is also down here, so this default display will determine what it looks like when they get that result list. So they'll see a list like this. They'll see a grid, which is 4 across, continuing down to the next page. Did you let her know that she's on? Or 3 across. It depends on how wide their screen is. Sometimes it expands to 4 across, sometimes it's just 3. And they also have this map view with this map over here and the properties down here. So you're able to set that. You're also able to see the sort. So I do a search and I see these listings. Right now they're viewed, they're sorted as reductions first. You can change it to sort with bed, bath, price, high to low, low to high, things like that. So you can change the results list. You can actually control the search criteria as well. So if I go to, let me go to my website. And I go to back to the main search option. If I click more options here, I will actually, let's change it to grid for an easier view. I will see all of the search criteria, but I also now see hot water, parking, and storage. Notice that these three, hot water, parking, and storage, are down here underneath my popular options section. I actually went in here and enabled them as additional search options. So my visitors, if I realize that they want to search type of year or zoning, I can come in here and save this. And now zoning, after the cache or the servers refresh, zoning will appear now down here as its own list that they can use to search, along with everything else that's defaulted. So it's great. These options will also appear as search criteria options in your lead search alert section. So if you want to make it easier for yourself to go in and enable search options, you can do so here as well. I'm surprised there's no questions about this. Usually I get lots of website questions, but I will consider that a great thing and carry on. Going over here to Marketplace, I'm just going to touch on this last. this is where you are able to see our lead gen and nurture options. So this core team add-on, if you have a team, you can set up a call and get this purchased, get it rocking and rolling. But let's focus on generating leads. You have testimonial tree as an option to sync to, but you also have buyer advertising, listing machine, a referral network, Facebook seller, and property boost, which is one of our a la carte products that actually boost your boost your listing on Facebook. And then down here you can integrate with SkySlope and Dotloop. But these are all of the options that we have. So if you want to focus more on your in-person interactions and paperwork and the other sides of business, you don't really want to be an advertiser or a marketer, you can leave that up to us. And we can take your advertising money and manage it for you, no problem. And the leads will just start flowing into your smart CRM and you don't have to worry about it. That is all I have for our advanced agent training. I know it went a little faster than the other two. These were just to point out the remainders and give you more tips and tricks on how to utilize niche features and functions. If you haven't already, I do have a couple of follow-up items. So going back to the dashboard, definitely make your way through this top 10 training series. It is a great way to build on your foundation. Remember to utilize the help resources section if you're having any trouble. And if you can't find anything, chat or email us and we can guide you in the right direction. I would also come down to this website section or go into Web and IDX and customize your site settings if you haven't already. At least poke around and see what's available. And add blog posts and testimonials. I know my last intermediate training, I talked extensively about blog posts, but corresponding with that are testimonials. Make sure you add those in there. That is in your Web and IDX settings. Both of them are. And we have quick buttons, testimonials right here, blog posts up here, and remember your quick actions. You can quickly add a blog post as well. And then service areas and SEO, I didn't really touch on this, but this is actually controlling what shows up on the bottom of your front page of your website, the areas we cover section. So you can customize this section and the little SEO statistic pages that are linked to them when a visitor clicks on it. So you can expand or narrow the areas you cover by going into service areas and SEO. You are able to actually enter in keywords so that they come up on specific search results list when in search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo. You're also able to rename the display text. So let's say I have one in here and the MLS or the city, the federal government has a specific name, a legal name for it, but locally or popularly it's known by another term or a nickname. I can actually rename it to display how I want to show it and make it a little easier for people to search or see that statistics page. You're also able, remember, to save the information and you can delete it if you want to. And a quick search up here will allow you to add any additional ones that you need to. So that's all I have for you guys today. It was great meeting with you for these 3 trainings. If you have any questions, please remember our support and help knowledge-based articles and videos. We have lots of different channels for you to get in contact with us, and I am confident that you will only continue building upon the knowledge that we have laid with these 3 trainings. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you in the future. Have a great day. Bye.